no sé si se escucha. Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back to this amazing family and these amazing studies that we're doing Shabbat after Shabbat. You know, we have been having some technical difficulties, and I don't know if you are able to hear us, so let us know in the chat. Okay. So let us know if you can hear us well, if the microphone is working perfectly, properly. If the sound is good.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I don't know, working just fine, hear you well, good here, yes, sounds great,
Thank
loud
you.
and clear. Our voice sounds pretty today.
Yeah.
I don't know. Perfect. So it's so glad to be here with you once again. You know, we always pick Shabbat to spend this time with all of you here in this live broadcast. Yesterday we have the chance to partake for a few hours with a group of you. Last night, I think it was a blessing to be part of the group. We were, you know, sleeping more than this morning. So we have less time to study, but I think it was a very nice discussion over the portion today that we are bringing today to you with some insights that we always pray to YaHuWaH that what we are able to share with you all is a blessing. It's a blessing. That's our prayers all the time. So that's why, you know, having this broadcast and having this opportunity to share the word of YaHuWaH is something that is bringing joy to our heart. And thank you, Camila. I just saw your comment here that we look refreshed. That's good, you know. And water worked for us. Water in our face was working really good. So it's good. It's good to have you here. 30 of you connected. I will ask you to like this video so more people is gonna be able to have this information, to get the notification of these video studies. You know, it's a small thing to start sharing the word of YaHuWaH with others just by doing this gesture. And
participating in the chat, because usually a lot of information and very good insight is coming from the chat. So, yeah.
Yes, true. That's important, you know, and this is something we have been telling you all the time, encouraging you to participate in the chat. The fact that we are here in front of the camera is just because YaHuWaH has decided to be so. But we are not the owner of the truth. We are not teachers. We are not rabbis. Nothing at all. We are the student like you are, that YaHuWaH has given us maybe a different mission to be here and start sharing with you and to have this space so we all together can learn and move forward in the path of the kingdom. But I have always believed that YaHuWaH is acting in all his people in different ways. And this we have been talking about this in the past. We are all of us are the members of the same body with different roles, different responsibilities. So that's why it's so important that you can participate in the chat. You can contribute, even though that you think that maybe you have nothing to contribute. All of us have something to share. You can believe that maybe something very small, but sometimes those small things that we believe are so important things for
somebody else,
and for to grow up, all of us together. So I think what you said is really important. I encourage all of you to share your thoughts here in the chat. And I managed to see one of the chat here from Arthur. What we were participating yesterday is not something that we organized. It's Karen, actually, the one organizing something. And we managed to join last night.
We have a very huge difference of time, so that's why we couldn't be there all the time.
Exactly.
But we tried to do our best.
Exactly. And thank you, Karen, for the invitation. Yeah. So, you know, today we're gonna begin with the study of the book of Vayiqra, and this is the book of Leviticus. And what is the meaning is, and he called. That's the real meaning of the word Vayiqra. And there are so many things that are important. We were amazed on few things that you remembered,
but I forgot.
You forgot, and I think I never saw before in the past. That is bringing maybe a renewed meaning of what's the sacrifices. And I think it's an expanded understanding of how important it is for us as a people, as individuals, to bring the offerings to YaHuWaH. How everything we need to do, actually, that is part of our responsibility to bring those offerings to YaHuWaH. And also trying to understand a little bit more what's the role of the Kohanim, the priests. So, there is this portion is full of details that sometimes is so difficult to understand. We're going to read the portion. For sure, we are not going to be able to go into all the details because some of them, and most of them, are difficult even to us to understand at this point. But we will do our best to share what we have been feeling in our hearts, just to have this open study.
And if you have any comments that you want call the attention of Juan Carlos, because I can read but not so clear, if you want to type in capital letters, I think that is going to be more easy to identify if it's a question, or write in @Light to the Nation so you can get the orange color. So just in case you want to share something important that he should read.
That's good. That's just to put an active participation.
Yeah.
Let's see an increasing, but this is too much. Let's go here. Okay, I'm just playing with the volume of the mic. So just put your comments. Is something going wrong with the sound? Just let us know. So let's begin. We have 5 chapters to read, many things to share. So let's do as we always do. I have a song here to share. So let's go and let's play this song. This is a song that most probably you have heard. I just found this version last night. And let's listen. I think the lyrics are so beautiful, and the song itself is so important. So let's listen to this one. Here we go.
To God, peace on earth, goodwill to all men. Here with the angels we sing. And as He reigns from above, may He reign in our hearts, our sovereign Lord and King. Oh, Emmanuel. Oh, Emmanuel. Oh, Emmanuel. God with us. Oh, Emmanuel. Oh, Emmanuel. Oh, Emmanuel. God with us. הללויה לאחד שבא לשכון איתנו, את עווננו נשא. הללויה הפרוכת נקראה ואנו נעמוד מולך. Emmanuel, God with us. God with us. Oh, Emmanuel. Oh, Emmanuel. Oh, Emmanuel. God with us.
Beautiful song, and you know, Emmanuel, that's Mashiach. Mashiach is with us, and it should be here with us in our heart. So let's pray together, and let's begin with the study. YaHuWaH Elohim, we want to give thanks to you in this moment because of the opportunity to you give us day by day, week by week, of keeping your covenant and keeping your Shabbat. We present ourselves to you in this moment with a humble heart and with shalom and joy in our heart, with the intention of serving you, with the intention to get closer to you, with the desire of our heart to know you better. We want to invite you in this moment, Tava, in this study, that your presence be among us, that you can guide us with your Ruach in everything you have purpose for your people and for everybody here in this study, and even for those that are not here, those that are watching and listening to these words later on. We pray for blessings in this moment, that you can guide our words, that you can put your thoughts in our minds and in our hearts, that you can guide our steps at all times. We trust in you and we believe in you. Our hope and our trust is in you. And we believe with all our hearts that every time that we seek you, with all our being, with all our efforts, with all our strength, we are able to find you, Abba. We know that your presence is with us, and no matter the distance, Abba, we know that you are uniting us in your Ruach. We only want to give praise to you and to acknowledge that you are the owner of everything, that you are the only one deserving to be worshipped, because you are the creator and you are our Elohim. In this moment, I pray to you that you can bless us in this study, that you can touch our hearts with your truth, that you can guide our steps in order to grow in your knowledge and in your wisdom, that you can teach us, because you are the one that are teaching us. You are the one that has been guiding us along the way. And we know that you are going to be guiding us till the end of the world. That's our expectation, that we are going to be in your kingdom. We only ask you, Abba, that you can give us the strength and the emunah, the belief, the faith, in order to endure until the end. We are your servants, and we want to be your witness here on earth in order to bring your kingdom, in order to bring your light, in order to bring your truth for those that are still seeking and with a desire in their hearts to know you. Thank you for everything you do for us. I pray for anybody that is going through your people through difficulties, that you can help them. I pray for the children and the families of your people here. Some of them are going through difficulties. Some of them are not in touch with your truth. Some of them are far away from your kingdom. And sometimes that's going and touching our hearts and bringing sadness to our beings. I pray for those of them that you can protect them wherever they are, that you can touch them wherever they are, that you can bring conviction, you can bring light to their hearts so they can start seeing you in every place they go, that they can start believing in you with all their hearts, that they can open the doors of their hearts to you so you can open the doors of your kingdom to them. Thank you, Abba, for everything you do for us. And we open the doors of our heart for your presence and for your Ruach in this moment. Thank you, Abba. We love you with all our heart. We pray to you in the name of YaHuWaH, our Messiah. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Something you want to share? I don't know.
Well,
I believe you have something to share.
I don't know. Maybe that we also have to pray for people who are maybe struggling, because I read that some people are having some storms, some weather difficulties. A lot of countries are being hit by tremors and, I don't know, earthquake in different places. Some people are also going through the separation of family members, maybe because some of them are going through an illness. So we have to pray for everybody, and especially for those that maybe we were talking about. That I have a friend, and sadly we have talked a lot of time, but sadly she doesn't believe in anything, and at this moment she's facing a difficult moment. And I was telling you that it could be so different for her, knowing and having the comfort of our Abba, because Abba always is going to provide comfort in different ways, through somebody, through maybe something that you can see. He opened your eyes and your ears in a different dimension. But the issue is that those people who doesn't want to believe in anything, is like they are taking all the different dimension from their lives. Mm-hmm. And usually people who also think that this is everything and we don't have anything else in the future. So, and we know that there is even a better life for us, expecting as a reward if we are doing our work and our good work. And that someday all the tears, all the heaviness, any problem that we have facing here in the earth is not going to be there anymore. And maybe what was lacking in our life today, maybe it's going to be our reward. Because I'm always thinking about Mashiach. He offered his life and he conquered death. So he's giving that eternal life to everybody who wants and who is working for that. Mm-hmm. So maybe if somebody is struggling because they have a very difficult situation here in the earth, we have to struggle with the help of our Abba, and he's going to reward us with that is missing. Maybe if we are alone here in the earth, he's going to provide a lot of people around us. I don't know. So that's it.
Very good word.
I took out.
No, it's good. It's good word. You know, we need to pray more in these times. And you know, I don't know if Shannon is here in the chat, but I got an email from her, and I want to publicly ask her to keep her son in your prayers, because she was telling me that he's in the military and he's being deployed abroad.
Wow.
To East Europe, and we know how the situation is over there currently. So we need to pray for protection and for guidance. So keep her son in your prayers. And you know, there are so many things happening that it could be heartbreaking sometimes. So that's why we need to stay strong, even though that we see difficulties around us. You know, the expectation we have in our heart is much stronger to anything. And it is written that we can do anything through Mashiach that is strengthening us. So that's why we need to keep our trust up here. We need to keep our joy up here. We need to keep our shalom up here. Our heart needs to be up here, understanding that we are the servants of YaHuWaH. And I think this portion started somehow to describe what it means to serve YaHuWaH in different ways. Maybe we are not acting in the Mishkan, in the tabernacle, in the temple, in the same way that the priests were doing, but we have been talking that we are the temple of YaHuWaH. So and we are priests as well. So somehow we need to understand how we are going to serve YaHuWaH in these times. And it's something that I mentioned last week that has been in my mind since then. Is a question we need to ask day by day in our prayers to how I'm going to serve you today. So understanding that this is part of our purpose is to serve him, we need to ask him every day how we are going to serve you today. How I'm gonna make your face shine and smile. So that should be the desire of our heart all the time. So let's move on. I managed to see a comment from Arthur. I think all of you are on fire today. You want to have 5 days study. Some of you 5 hours study.
I don't know yet.
I don't know. It's gonna
be sit here 5 hours.
5 hours.
Yeah, because it's not a very comfortable seat.
Yeah, we can do pauses for 1 hour and then come back and so on. It's gonna be. I think we need to wait for that when we are gonna be able to do it face to face.
Yeah.
And then that's gonna be really interesting because we are gonna be rotating. Who's going to speak and share, and it's not going to be only the two of us speaking. That's going to be an amazing moment. So let's go and let's play the Parsha in 60 seconds before we begin.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Shalom and welcome to Parsha in 60 seconds. We have now exited the Exodus and have entered Leviticus. Today's portion is from Leviticus 1:1 through 5:26. It is called Vayiqra, which means "and he called." God gave the laws of sacrifices. Burnt offerings could be a bull, rams, a male goat, or turtle doves, or pigeons, which the priest burnt completely on the altar. Meal offerings were made of flour and oil, from which priests would break a piece off and burn it on the altar. And the remainder was the priest's lunch. When consumed, no leaven or honey was used, just salt. Strict and very specific protocols were given for meal, well-being, and sin offerings, which included the burning of various internal organs of animals. Offerings for just about everything you could think of, including but not limited to persons who were a silent witness, touched an unclean thing, touched human uncleanliness, uttered an oath and forgot. The person had to confess and sacrifice a female sheep or goat. If they could not afford a sheep, 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons. And if they couldn't afford that, a handful of flour. Basically, sacrifice was required for every possible scenario. And that is Vayiqra in 60 seconds.
Vayiqra in 60 seconds. Yeah, I think it is the first time that I say this Parsha in 60 seconds.
Me too.
I just found it last night. It wasn't part of the files we had. So interesting. It's a good summary, like always. So let me share the screen here. Let's go to the scripture, and let's go to Leviticus. Vayiqra, chapter 1, verse 1. You want to start or you want me to start?
No. Because...
so you want me to start with the first 2 chapters?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. So let's begin. So it says the following, starting in the chapter 1, verse 1. We are good? Yes, we are good. It says, "And YaHuWaH called to Moshe and spoke to him from the tent of appointment, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when any one of you brings an offering to YaHuWaH, you bring your offering of the livestock, of the herd, or of the flock. If this offering is an ascending offering of the herd, let him bring a male, a perfect one. Let him bring it at the door of the tent of appointment, for his acceptance before YaHuWaH. And he shall lay his hand on the head of the sending offering, and it shall be accepted on his behalf, to make atonement for him. And he shall slay the bull before YaHuWaH, and the sons of Aaron the priests shall bring the blood, and sprinkle the blood all around on the slaughter place, which is at the door of the tent of appointment. And he shall skin the sending offering, and cut it into its pieces. And the sons of Aaron the priest shall put fire on the slaughter place, and lay the good in order on the fire. And the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall arrange the pieces with the head and the fat on the wood, which is on the fire on the slaughter place. But its entrails and its legs he washes with water, and the priest shall burn all of it on the slaughter place as an ascending offering, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to YaHuWaH. We are going to reserve what we saw for the end,
Okay. Yeah.
because I think it was, for us, was a blessing to see it backwards.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
When we continue on reading, then we went backward and we started to see all the pieces together.
I only want to add one comment that
Go
I
ahead.
haven't seen before. Can you imagine how was to bring the bull and try to put the hands on that head?
Uh-huh.
Are you not terrified when you're approaching to the cows?
True.
Oh, because some cows, they're easy and you can perceive the friendly ways that they have.
Mhm.
But with the bulls, it's something, I don't know.
Maybe it
haven't
was
seen a bull.
a domestic bull. I don't know,
I
a
don't
nice
know.
bull.
Yeah, I don't know.
They were not wearing red, so
Yeah, well, maybe that's why the different colors. Yeah, but I think that it's something that it makes you think
for
if
sure.
you are going to want to repeat the scene or not.
even at the moment when they were going to slaughter the animal, it's not an easy thing, especially with a big animal. How to tie the animal,
Yeah,
you know, all the scene
the-
and
the process itself.
and the process is not easy. Actually, it was part of the discussion we have earlier.
with Angela.
Yes, that the entire process wasn't that clean, to say so, because you know, most probably there were blood all over the place. You know, cutting the animal in different pieces. Exactly, the animal screaming.
Yeah, noise and everything.
So it wasn't an easy scenario. So, and there was an entire debate we had here at home on how to understand. I do believe that, you know, maybe that's why he started to open the eyes, because of the discussion.
Yeah, I think
Because,
that it was because of that.
Because of that, yeah. Because, you know, I imagine, I picture myself the Kohanim and the place of his dwelling in the tabernacle as a clean place. Actually, he even put the basin with water for them to cleanse their hands and their feet before serving.
Yeah.
Because, and if you remember, there was some...
And they have some musicians inside also.
When he's giving the instruction about toilets, you remember?
Yeah. That
They needed to go outside the camp in order to have a clean place.
Yeah, because
he's going to walk among
he
them.
said that his presence is not going to be in an unclean place.
Exactly. So the same thing is applicable when we think in all this process of the sacrifices and the offering. That though that for those of us that we have seen the process, it's not an easy one. So even though that it's not an easy one, I do believe that the priest, they part of their charge, as the scripture says, is to do everything in order, everything in cleanness.
They
especially they have white.
have white clothes.
So how to keep it white?
Yeah.
So that's an interesting point of view, and you will understand. You know, we will reserve to not to the end, but for later what we saw, and maybe you have seen it.
Yeah,
But we are going to share what we have seen today. And why not now? Because I think it's important to see the rest of the portion, just to have a complete understanding. But one of the things here that I see is really, really interesting, and I want to refer to what I said in the past. Is what it says in the chapter 7. It's talking about the priest. It says that the priest, the sons of Aaron, shall put fire on the slaughter place and lay the good in order on the fire. And if you remember, what I mentioned in the past is that we as priests, because we are being called priests, we are the one responsible to put the fire and to bring the fire to the altar, to the Mizbeach in Hebrew. And we are the one with the responsibility to bring the wood in order to keep that fire burning. And we see it clearly here. So when we think in our selves as the temple of the Ruach, in this temple, we are the one with the responsibility to keep that fire. So that should be part of our day-to-day prayers to Abba, that we need to do that effort, bringing the wood, bringing the fire, keeping an eye in a daily basis to make sure that the fire is there, it's not being consumed. It's the same thing that we need to do in a daily basis, in every minute, making sure that the fire of the Mizbeach, the fire of the altar of YaHuWaH here in this temple is there. It's not being consumed. It's burning.
That we have enough stock on reserve for the continued sacrifices.
And it requires an effort, every time that we are working with the good sticks in order to keep, the fire in our houses.
Is perfect.
Yeah, but we need to take care that we have the wood.
Yeah.
We need to take care that we are splitting the wood sometimes.
Yeah.
We need to take the wood and bring it to the place. So that required an effort, a sacrifice somehow, because it's a manual work. And we need to bring it and we need to put it in order. It's really nice because it's like doing a barbecue as well. It's to put it in order for the fire to go on in an easy way. If you are not doing it right, you are not going to get fire. It's going to get consumed immediately. If the wood is wet,
maybe you're going to get all the smoke.
Exactly. So there are those little details are so important that if we apply all of them to our lives, it's exactly the same. It's the same thing that we need to be careful. We need to take care of those details in our spiritual life, in order to make sure that we are keeping that fire. That fire, what's the purpose of the fire? It has different purposes. The first one and the most important one is for the sacrifices that were in the courtyard, in the copper altar.
Yeah.
But they were taking part of that fire, the same fire, in order to bring it to the set apart place, in order to bring the incense, the offering of the incense. So, and we know that the offering of the incense is being compared to our prayers.
Yeah.
So, what it means is that our prayers, we need that fire. If we don't have that fire, our prayers, I don't want to use the first word that came to my mind was useless. It's not that our prayers are going to be useless, but it means that we are praying without that fire. Maybe that is not going to have the same result. Because the purpose of bringing the incense offering to YaHuWaH is to bring a sweet offering for remembrance. So in order to bring that sweet smelling, we need the fire for the incense to get into his nostrils. So we can pray, but if we are doing it without that fire,
an empty prayer.
It's going to be an empty prayer. Exactly. Without that sweet fragrance to him. So all of that, is a consequence of keeping that fire in the same way that the Kohanim, the priest we see here, doing it. And the second responsibility is what we see here in the verse 8. It was the responsibility of the priest to arrange the pieces and the head and the fat on the wood, which is on the fire of the slaughter place, in order to bring the offering. It was their responsibilities to bring the offering. So It's not somebody else's responsibility. It's our own responsibility as priests of YaHuWaH to bring the offering to our, and we need to do it properly in order, in cleanness, with the fire burning. Anything else you want to add?
No, it's in the next one.
In the night?
Yeah.
So?
Read it, and then I'm going to share.
Okay, so it says, but its entrails and its legs he washes with water, and the priest shall burn all of it on the slaughter place as an ascending offering, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to YaHuWaH. Share it.
Now that it always made me think about what Mashiach did with the Talmidim, with the apostles, his disciples, because he was washing their, well, it says here the legs, but we can talk about when he was washing their feet.
Correct.
And about that was also washing its entrails. Well, in the entrails goes what we eat, and Mashiach was sharing with them a different kind of food. Everything that he shared was washing inside of them. It was changing them from inside to the outside. So I found it very beautiful. Always these kind of sacrifices, I try to imagine how they are reflected in the actions that Mashiach did as a priest, as a Kohen Gadol.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you know, actually, it was part of the discussion and a practical thing we need to understand. I don't know what's your experience on the slaughtering animals. I haven't done it myself, but I have seen part of it, of the process. And washing the entrails is a necessary step if we really want to bring, as it is written here, a sweet fragrance to YaHuWaH.
Yeah.
We know what is in the entrails. Yeah. So if we are not careful enough to clean it,
it's going to smell.
It's not going to smell nice.
Decomposed.
It's not going to smell nice. And what he's demanding here and asking here, more than demanding, asking here, is a sweet fragrance. So you know, sometimes we tend to spiritualize too much things, but here's a practical thing. You know, he's giving the instruction. It's very specific instruction. You need to bring everything as an ascending offering, but take care, because I want to have a sweet fragrance. Take care that you are washing all those parts that are not clean. And you know what it means to us. I think, you know, if we compare about the laws of purity, that we need to be tahor, we need to be pure to YaHuWaH. You know, if he's going into those details of thinking on that the unclean parts of an animal needs to be washed with water, the same thing is applicable to us. Is that we need to take care of our purity, that we need to be tahor every time that we are approaching him, every time that we want to serve him. And being tahor, I think, as we said a few weeks ago, is totally applicable from my point of view, from the inside, but also from the outside. Both things needs to be together, because you know, we cannot have this separation. We are echad. He created us. Being echad is not that we are in spirit and a body totally separated. Not at all. So if we're going to be echad in the same way that he created us, in all aspects of what he is teaching us, we need to be echad from the inside and from the outside. That's why, you know, he was asking also the priests to wash their hands and their feet. That was an external washing, but also somehow in the process of doing it, something happened. We are doing it with the intention, with the meod. That's the word in Hebrew, with the intention. If we're doing it with the intention, every time that we're doing it externally, something happened internally. This is like put us in sync of what we're doing. Purifying internally the heart too.
Like it's a membrane that is opened in somehow. So if you do something here, it's going to affect this part and vice versa. So
Good. So let's continue. It says in the verse 10, and if his offering is from the flock, from the sheep, or from the goats, as an ascending offering, let him bring a male, a perfect one, and he shall slay it on the north side of the slaughter place, before YaHuWaH. And the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall sprinkle its blood on the slaughter place all around. And he shall cut it into its pieces, and with its head and its fat, and the priest shall arrange them on the wood which is on the fire on the slaughter place. But the entrails and the legs he washes with water, and the priest shall bring it all, and burn it on the slaughter place. It is an ascending offering, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to YaHuWaH. So, it's describing the same process, but there is something different.
Is the location?
It is the location. And he shall slay it on the north side of the slaughter place. In the other one, it doesn't mention the location.
Yeah. Oh. It doesn't say at the in front, which is the slur in the door of the tent of appointment. No. Okay.
So for me, I don't have the answer, but for me, this is a very, very interesting thing. Is because of what I told you.
Yeah.
When we're thinking in Jerusalem, there is what is located to the north of what is believed the temple was located. I don't have the graphic here, but you can look later on a map, and you will see it. And what is known as the Garden Tomb, when it is believed that Mashiach was crucified, buried, and resurrected, is exactly at the north of the temple, meaning that it's at the north of the slaughter place, it's at the north of the Mizbeach, it's at the north of the altar. So I'm not trying to imply that this is the meaning, but I'm wondering that maybe it's a connection.
Maybe it's a connection.
Then in this case, it's so specific that for this specific sacrifice it needs to be at the north of the slaughter place. I think it could be a connection to Yahushua being crucified, maybe at the north of the temple. Okay, so let's continue. Verse 14, and if the ascending offering of his offering to YaHuWaH is of birds, then he shall bring his offering of turtle doves or young pigeons, and the priest shall bring it to the slaughter place, and shall wring off its head, and burn it on the slaughter place, and its blood shall be drained out at the side of the slaughter place. And he shall remove its crop with its feathers, and throw it beside the slaughter place on the east side, into a place for ashes. And he shall split it at its wings, but not sever it. And the priest shall burn it on the slaughter place, on the wood that is on the fire. It is an ascending offering, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to YaHuWaH. So basically, it's describing different sacrifices from different animals, from the livestock, basically.
So in different size.
Different size.
They have different movements because usually because of their size.
And the beauty of all of this is that an offering, what is written here in this translation as offering, the word in Hebrew is korban, and I have my notes from previous year here. And the word korban was mentioned by Yahushua or Messiah when he was debating with the religious people of the time. And maybe we should go fast to that point just to remember this thing, that somehow we see the connection of the Brit Hadashah, the New Testament, with Torah, and also with the traditions of the elders. So let's go to the book of Mark, chapter 7, and let's read from verse 9 to verse 13. It says the following: And he said to them, well do you set aside the command of Elohim in order to guard your tradition. For Moses said, respect your father and your mother, and he who curses father or mother, let him be put to death. But you say, if a man says to his father or mother, whatever profit you may have received from me is korban. That is a gift. And we know korban is
An offering.
an offering. It could be a peace offering, it could be a voluntary offering, it could be a vow offering, it could be a sin offering, but it's a korban. So this is exactly what Mashiach is saying. They change the purpose and the instruction from YaHuWaH and replace it with their own tradition, saying, okay, I'm choosing this to be a korban, an offering. And this is going to be my way out somehow in order not to help and respect my father and my mother. Because this is exactly what he said. You no longer let him do any matter at all for his mother, for his father or his mother. Nullifying the word of Elohim through your tradition, which you have handed down, and many such traditions you do. And you know, those chapters are so beautiful because it helps us to understand that Yahushua was reinforcing Torah. He was elevating Torah. He was not nullifying Torah. He was nullifying the traditions of the elder. He was against the tradition of the elder that somehow were nullifying Torah. So it is written here. And it's so beautiful that somehow we have this maybe small detail on reference of Korban as we see in the portion of today. So let's go back to Leviticus and let's read the chapter 2. So it says the following, and when anyone brings a grain offering to YaHuWaH, his offering is to be of fine flour, and he shall pour oil on it and put frankincense on it, and he shall bring it to the sons of Aaron, the priests, and he shall take from it his hand filled with fine flour and oil with all the frankincense, and the priest shall burn it as a remembrance portion on the slaughter place, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to YaHuWaH. And the rest of the grain offering is for Aaron and his sons, most set apart of the offerings to YaHuWaH by fire. And when you bring as an offering a grain offering, bake it in the oven. And this is really interesting because in the same way that he is giving some options, and I do believe that he's doing it considering the situation of different situations among his people.
No, they live different, they have different appliance in their houses, I don't know, in their tents. Some people are going to cook with something, maybe other person is going to prepare some.
Or maybe it's the same thing that we were talking last week is about when they were bringing the contribution, the terumah for the building up of the tabernacle. Not everyone has had access to precious stones. So the same here is applicable. He's opening the door depending on the situation and the access of the different people, people among Israel. Maybe you are not going to be able to have bulls. Maybe you have only sheep and lambs. Maybe you are not able yet to have herds and flocks. Maybe you have only birds. And maybe you don't have none of that, but you have flour and you have grain. So he's opening the door in order for them to understand
from where they can take the offering.
Exactly. To give the opportunity to everyone to bring offerings to his altar. And while I'm continue reading, I'm gonna ask a question that I would like you to put the comments in the chat. So far we are reading all these portions and the different offerings, what they need to do, and so on. But the question that I want to ask, who do you think was in charge of all this process? To slaughter the animal, to cut the animal, to prepare the meal offerings and so on.
Because here you realize about that.
So I want you to put the comments. What is your current understanding on who was in responsibility, who was responsible to do all of this activity, and where what location in the tabernacle they were doing it. So while you are thinking and making your comments, I will continue reading and we will find out a few things. So the first offering of a grain offering was just flour with a mix of oil and frankincense, but he's providing other alternatives.
Yeah.
So the second alternative is in the first verse 4. And when you bring as an offering, a grain offering, baked in the oven, so flour, bacon. It is of 11 cakes, it's matzah, of fine flour mixed with oil, or 11 thin cakes anointed with oil. And this is a two type of different matzah that we don't know what's the difference. And this should be something really interesting to study, because the one that is being translated here, 11 cakes, is matzah challah. And the one here, 11 thin cakes, is matzah rekiik, something like that. But I don't know what's the difference. This is something that we need to understand, and maybe they were the expert on doing the different type of matzah.
Yeah, maybe one is like
In the oven.
Yeah.
Both of them were in the oven.
Yeah, maybe the other one was more thin. I don't know, like a cracker or something like that. I don't know if it's cracker the word, but like waffle, little waffle.
Okay, so let me read some of the answers here in the meantime. The priests were responsible in my mind. The person brought the offering, but the priest could slaughter. Kohanim outside the tabernacle, Aaron's sons, no? We need to pray for Sister Payne and help her with Ezekiel 32. Okay. The bringer of the offering was translated, not the priest. We have discussed this in years past, whether the people or the priest. This currency. What else? Good. Who says here? And Carlos actually had some good recipes. Yeah, of matzah, that's true. So, okay, let's continue. So, but if your offering is a grain offering of the griddle, so it's a different type of preparing. The grain offering is of the fine flour, 11 mixed with oil, divided into bits and pour oil on it. It is a grain offering. And if your offering is a grain offering in a stewing pot, it is made of fine flour with oil. And you shall bring it to YaHuWaH, the grain offering that is made of this, and shall present it to the priest. And he shall bring it to the slaughter place. And the priest shall take from the grain offering a remembrance portion, and burn it on the slaughter place, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to YaHuWaH. And the rest of the grain offerings for Aaron and his sons, most set apart of the offerings to YaHuWaH made by fire. No grain offering which you bring to YaHuWaH is made with leaven. And let's keep it there. I think we need to attend to the question that I asked.
That you already asked.
So, this is something that you didn't remember, and I think I didn't saw it in the past. You have the note in the scripture.
Yeah.
So, if we read carefully, in the chapter 1, chapter 2, and we will see it in the chapter 3, we will get to the understanding that the one in charge of slaying, cutting, preparing the offering, it was the same person that was bringing the offering to YaHuWaH.
Yeah.
So let me go back to the chapter 1, and I'm gonna make it much easier, and we are gonna try to share in the way that we saw it. So let me read again the chapter 1. Starting in the verse 2, it says, "Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when any one of you bring an offering." So basically it's telling any one of the people that wants to bring an offering to YaHuWaH is giving, again, the starting point is in the people. Okay? The people, or somebody from the people, bringing an offering to YaHuWaH. It says, I'm going to jump to the verse 3. "If his offering is an ascending offering of the herd, let him bring a male, a perfect one. Let him bring it at the door of the tent of appointment for his acceptance before YaHuWaH. And we have not seen here the sons of Aaron." Is still talking about the person bringing the offering to YaHuWaH. The he over here is talking about the same he bringing the offering. "And he shall lay his hand on the head of the ascending offering, and it shall be accepted on his behalf to make atonement for him. So the first process, and this is so beautiful, and I skipped this one by mistake, is the reinforcement of what it means to laying on hands. Laying hands. You know, and we see this all over the place in the Brit Hadashah. In this case, the same person that is bringing the offering, the first thing is just as part of the atonement process. So all of this is being done so far by the person who is bringing the offering. Let's continue reading the verse 5. And he is still talking about the person bringing the offering. He shall slay the bull before YaHuWaH. And only here is mentioning the priest, the sons of Aaron. And the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall bring the blood and sprinkle the blood all around on the slaughter place, which is at the door of the tent of appointment. So what is the responsibility of the sons of Aaron, the priest here, is to take the blood, bring it to the altar, and sprinkle the blood in the altar. Then it continues saying, and he, who is the he, is the one bringing the offering, shall skin the sending offering, and who is going to cut it into pieces is he, the same one bringing the offering. And as soon as he's cut it into pieces, then in the verse 7, we see again the sons of Aaron in the responsibility. It says, and the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall put fire on the slaughter place and lay the wood in order on the fire. And the sons of Aaron, the verse 8, the priest, shall arrange the pieces. So they're going to take the pieces that are already cut by the person bringing the offering, and they will arrange those pieces in the altar in order to bring the offering. If we want to have an additional example, let's go to what we were reading, the chapter 2 with the grain offering. It says, when anyone brings a grain offering to YaHuWaH, his offering is to be of fine flour, and he shall pour oil. Who is the he here? Is the one bringing the offering. Pour oil on it and put frankincense on it. So he is the one preparing the offering, the mixture.
Yeah.
And as soon as the mixture is prepared for the offering, it says the verse 2, he shall bring it to the sons of Aaron, the priest, and he shall take from it his hand filled with fine flour and oil with all frankincense, and the priest shall burn it as a remembrance portion of the slaughter place. And even in the way that I understand it, he is the same person taking
and for sure is going to
giving it to the priest,
and then the priest is going to.
And the same here is applicable in the verse 4. And when you bring as an offering a grain offering, bake it in the oven. So who is preparing the matzah in the oven? Is the person that is bringing the offering. Because even in any type of preparation, is the person responsible to bring the offering. And it says, and you shall bring it as soon as it's ready, you shall bring it to YaHuWaH, the grain offering that is made of this, and shall present it to the priest. So I prepare the matzah in the grill, in the oven, or in the stew pot, and as soon as it's ready, you give it to the priest, and the priest is going to bring it to the slaughter place. And then
he's going to act on your behalf.
Exactly. So what's the beautiful picture here? Because it was part of the discussion. Killing an animal that is part of your flock, it's not an easy thing. It's like, you want to give something that is really important to you, that belongs to you, that is being part of your belongings. It's one thing. It's just to giving it away. But in this case, they were responsible to sacrifice it too. So you see what it means if we want to apply this to ourselves. If we want to bring an offering to YaHuWaH, we need to bring something that
you cannot be with empty-handed. Like
you cannot be empty-handed,
and not only with the offering, but with the action that is after that is creating this or pushing you going to the priest with the offering. He's going to act on your behalf, but it's you.
You need to do the entire process.
You have to prepare it.
So if we
it's something that needs to be born from you.
If we go back to what I said, and it was part of the discussion, understanding that this wasn't that a clean process. Now we understand that it was the person bringing the offering, the one slaughtering the animal, removing the skin, cutting into pieces. Not yet. Cutting into pieces. Not yet. cutting into pieces. It wasn't the priests. So the priests were keeping their cleanness, because all of that was done by the person bringing the offering. They were just taking the offerings and presented to YaHuWaH. That was their task, their role, to present the offering in the altar. Now, to the point that you wanted to say,
I don't know what
yes,
I wanted to
you
say.
wanted to say something.
Okay.
You wanted to say what I wanted to say now, but you can say it. We can say it together. And that's going to be an open question as well. Where do you think all of this process of killing the animal was done? And I want to see your comments in the chat. You know, now with this understanding that this person was the one bringing the offering, was in responsibility to slaying the animal, to removing the skin, to cut it into pieces. Where this was done? I want. We're gonna wait just a minute, and we're gonna see it. The comments, and this is what you wanted to say. You can say it.
I don't know what I was going to say.
So Beetlejuice, it says outside of the camp. Chirion, we don't think much of eating and slaughter animals, so disconnected, but we cringe about sacrificing to That's true, you know. It's not it's a process, you know. If we want to eat meat, we need to sacrifice an animal. You know, they were doing these huge barbecues in the altar. So it's the same process that we are doing now. It says, Arthur, outside the tabernacle. So
I'm agree with that too, in Cornelia. Yeah.
So maybe you can read it. Let's go to this one that is much clear. Read the verse 3 and you can share it.
If his offering is an ascending offering of the herd, let him bring a male, a perfect one. Let him bring it at the door of the tent of appointment for his acceptance before YaHuWaH.
So, is the door at the door of the tent of appointment? And what's that door? Is the external door.
The
It's
one
not
that is separating the complete building
exactly
from all the camp, because the building was inside of the...
correct. So there were two doors. The first door was the entrance to the courtyard, where we have the altar of copper, where we have the basin with the water. And then we have the other door, is the door to the tent. So that door is the external door. And I'm gonna mention few chapters here just to have a more complete understanding. If it means that they were bringing the offering at the door of the tent of appointment, and now with this understanding, it was the one bringing the offering with the responsibility to slay the animal. It means that all this process of killing the animal, cutting it into pieces, was done outside the tabernacle. It was done at the door of the tent of appointment. It wasn't done in the place of the altar. And this is, I think, is a very beautiful picture, because we understand the level of cleanness and purity that the YaHuWaH was looking for. You know, all this process of sacrificing the animal was done outside, so meaning that all the place of the tabernacle was kept as a clean place. And spiritually speaking, and before that, you know, we see also the sacrifice of Yahushua was done outside the temple, outside the camp. And what it means for us. So first, that as you said, we need to be responsible for the entire process of the sacrifice, and we need to do it. You know, I think the external sacrifices is so important, and what came to my heart now is this fasting, praying, doing an extra effort, something that somehow is gonna move us outside of our comfort zone. That we are so used somehow to go in specific ways and to do specific things, and sometimes we don't go beyond what we are so used to do. Sometimes we need to do something that it's making us uncomfortable, that is not easy for us. For the Father, for sure, that's what I'm talking about. To serve Him in things that sometimes is moving us to areas that maybe we're not gonna feel good, but it's something that we need to do for Him. You know, sometimes, and let me put an example, sometimes maybe we need to speak to a person and we are not so used to talk. But if we retrieve, we are not somehow applying what we are seeing here. That everything needs to be external. If we want to serve YaHuWaH here in this temple, we need to do something external and presenting the offering externally to Him in order to have everything ready to go inside the temple and present the offering to Him with the fire, with the incense, with the sweet fragrance to Him. Everything externally and internally.
I don't know why I remember that, and I told you before, I remember that verse where it says that we should kill the flesh. And I think that is also the meaning of the sacrifice, killing the flesh to present something that is going to be a sweet fragrance.
And you know, as Sister Payne says, we need to present ourselves as a living sacrifice.
Yeah.
And then what's the beauty of this? And actually we will read in the next chapter. The person bringing the offering, as we just found, is the one in responsibility to do all of this. But those person could be the priest, could be the king, could be any people from among Israel. So, you know, it could be anybody. So if we are acting as priests and at the same time we are part of Israel, we need to be part of the process. Now we are bringing the offering, but also we are presenting the offering, because who were the one presenting the offering to YaHuWaH in the altar? Were the priests. And why this is so important? Because not everybody had access to the tabernacle.
To the innermost part.
And not even to the courtyard. The people needed to remain outside. That's why if the person were bringing the sacrifice, they needed to do all this process at the door, outside the tabernacle. And they were bringing the blood in a basin, and that's why the priests were taking the blood and bringing to the altar. They were taking the pieces from the one bringing the offering and bringing to the altar. And why I'm saying this, and let me see if I can find it quickly. I think in the book of Numbers, let's see. Much easier. Maybe you can look at much easier if I look here in the scripture, and you're going to.
And I don't know why, but it called always my attention about the size of the animal, the different size and their movement. And if you compare also, if you put the hare, that is the bull, the flocks, that is the goat and the sheep, and the birds, then the birds are flying around the air, but also the grain are the one that are located in one place that are not moving. So maybe it's a kind also of comparison of every person, I don't know, about what they're doing, how they're living.
So let me go to chapter 3 of the book of Numbers, verse 5 to 7.
Okay.
It says, and YaHuWaH spoke to Moshe, saying, bring the tribe of Levi or Levi near, and set them before Aaron the priest, and they shall serve him, and shall guard his duty and the duty of all the congregation before the tent of appointment, to do the service of the dwelling place. And they shall guard all the furnishings of the tent of appointment, and the duty of the children of Israel, to do the service of the dwelling place. And shall give the Levites to Aaron and his sons. They are the given ones, given to him from among the children of Israel. And appoint Aaron and his sons, and they shall guard their priesthood. And the stranger who comes near shall be put to death. So no stranger except them were allowed to go in the tabernacle. And actually, the place that is much clear for our understanding is the chapter 18 of the same book, verse 4. It says, And they shall guard, it's talking about the Levites and the priests, your charge and the duty of all the tent, but they do not come near the furnishings of the set apart place and the slaughter place, lest they die. And it's talking about the slaughter place. Both they and you, and they shall be joined with you on guard the duty of the tent of appointment for all the service of the tent, but the stranger does not come near you. So it is my belief that it was only the priest, the one that were able to go in. So all this process of sacrificing the animal, as we saw, was responsibility of the one offering, bringing the offering, and they were doing it outside. And the one able to take this one and bring it in an offering in the altar was the Kohanim, the priests.
And you were comparing this with the situation at Mount Sinai, remember?
Yep.
That it was put a border where nobody could approach to that place. Only selected people could go to the bottom of the mountain. And then it was Moshe who was the only one who was in the presence of YaHuWaH. So, and even YaHuShua was in the way.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of that no everybody can go and be in the presence of YaHuWaH or in the most set apart place. Yeah.
Exactly.
Set apart place. Yeah.
Exactly. This is a beautiful picture because, at least from my point of view, it's expanding the understanding of what should be our participation and our responsibility when we bring the offerings to YaHuWaH in our lives. Acting as the one bringing the offering and acting as the priest. And what we discuss also here is that most of these sacrifices, as it is written in the chapter 1 and 2, is for the purpose of atonement. So atonement, we know that is coming from the word kippur and kofer in Hebrew, that the meaning is just to cover something. So if we understand now that everything was done outside, cutting the animal and so on, but then, and they were unable to go into the altar place, the one that was acting on behalf of them, bringing the offering, considering that the people were unable to go in, were the priests. So they were bringing the offering on behalf of the person. They were bringing the blood of the animal of the offering of the person. They were bringing the flesh of the animal of the offering of the person on behalf of them. And we were imagining, if you remember, that maybe they were praying to YaHuWaH. I'm bringing this offering on behalf of. I pray to you that you receive this offering on his behalf, that you can clean him, and many other things. So looking into this is much easier to understand that they were acting as a covering for the person. It's like the mediator covering the other person because they were unable to get in. So let me.
It's like the prayer that YaHuShua did at the end for the Talmidim when he was interceding with YaHuWaH and asking for them to be kept safe and apart and from the world.
Absolutely.
Something like that. I think that maybe that was kind of a prayer of atonement.
I fully agree with that. Actually, he is the one now, our high priest, and doing it.
Atonement for us.
So we bring our offering, we prepare everything now, and we present it to our high priest, and our high priest is presenting in our behalf this offering in the altar.
And if we are the animals.
And maybe we are the animals. Sometimes we behave like animals. So let's continue. No grain offering in the verse 11, which you bring to YaHuWaH, is made with leaven, for you do not burn any leaven or any honey in an offering to YaHuWaH made by fire. Do you have any comments on this one?
Me? No.
No? What about leaven? What do you think is they don't need it to bring leaven?
I don't know, because it's going to affect the result. At some point, it's not going to be like the raw ingredients. It's going to be affected somehow. The flour is going to be puffed with the leaven, and the honey is going to affect the flavor. So I think that. But
this is a picture of something. We know that leaven is a representation of sin. So this is talking about somehow the purity of this offering, as you said, is not being changed by the leaven. It's something pure. So I think that's the representation. We need to bring a pure offering to YaHuWaH. Bring them to YaHuWaH as an offering of the first fruits, but they are not burnt on the slaughter place for a sweet fragrance. So that's the only exception when we are able to bring an offering with leaven to YaHuWaH. And when is that? The first fruits. It's during Shabbat.
Yeah, when we bring the
2 pieces of challah is to present it to YaHuWaH, and those are with leaven, but they're not burned. And season with salt every offering of your grain offering, and do not allow the salt of the covenant of your Elohim to be lacking from your grain offering. With all your offerings, you bring salt. And here, with all your offering, I think with this word, is including the ones that we were reading in the chapter 1. It's not only the grain offering, it's all the offerings, yes. Is to bring it with salt.
Because meat without salt is that.
And I have a few comments from the previous years that we have a reference of the covenant of salt in 2 places. And I do believe this is a reference to those covenants. The first one is in the same chapter that we were reading. It's in the book of Midbar. This is Numbers chapter 18, verse 19, in reference to the covenant of the priesthood, the Kehonah with the Aaron. It's 18 verse 19. It says, all the contribution of the set-apart gifts which the children of Israel present to YaHuWaH, I have given to you and your sons and daughters with you as a law forever. It is a covenant of salt forever before YaHuWaH with you and your seed with you. So the covenant between the priests and YaHuWaH is being called a covenant of salt.
And in the past, the salt was used for payment. It was like that's why the salary words is coming from. That it was something so precious, because if you cook without salt, it's not nice. So that was, I think, even as much valuable as gold and things like that. So I think maybe that's why it's telling us about the importance of salt. And also because of the properties of salt.
Yeah. What Chirionis is bringing here in the chat is a good clarification. Leaven is not necessarily sin only. It could be bad teachings, bad instructions.
Yeah. It's going to depend how the leaven is being used. It's something that is going to be increased, and Yahushua was mentioning in some aspect and in the other.
I think I was including this in the study of the death, burial, and resurrection of Mashiach. In more the depth, comparing, that we need to remove the bad leaven that could be sin, could be bad teachings and so on. And as soon as we are clean, we are to be open in order to include the good leaven. And that's the picture we see even in this portion, because we are not allowed to bring the offerings in the altar to YaHuWaH with leaven, but then we have the opportunity to bring an offering, not to be burned, but an offering with leaven during Shabbat. And then this is a direct connection with Torah, with the good instruction, with the good word. So the second reference to the covenant of Salah, I think, is in the book of Second Chronicles, chapter 13, verse 5. It says the following: do you not know that YaHuWaH Elohim of Israel has given the reign over Israel to David forever, to him and his sons, by a covenant of salt? So, and for me, that's an interesting picture, because covenant of salt being mentioned for the priest.
That is going to be something.
And also for the king. And we know that in Yahushua, both roles are being merged, because he is king and priest. So could it be that somehow the salt is necessary because it's in reference of the 2 anointings of priest and king, the 2 important roles? And Yahushua is king and priest, and he is calling us that we are going to be king and priest together with him. And even he said in the book of Matthew that we are the salt of the earth.
Yeah. And you know that the salt is being used for cutting if you have a blood or a cut and you have blood coming out, you put salt and it's going to stop immediately. And usually it's also being used to kept meat in places where you don't have a cool system and things like that.
True.
So I think that it may be, I don't know, because something who works in the medical area, maybe they could know. Because usually when you have blood involved, when the blood is in contact with the oxygen, with the air, as soon as somebody dies, it, I don't know, it loses or put into the air a bacteria that is called mortecina in Spanish. That is the one that is speeding up all the process of the decomposition. So I think that the leaven maybe could impact on that process and maybe could create something kind of infectious. So I think maybe also that is something could be practical in that way, because and I think that that's why maybe it's being said, I don't know if it was in the next chapter, that we don't have to eat, we are forbidden of eating blood.
It's in the next one, yeah.
So I think that there is a lot of things hidden there.
Interesting. So that's why, we are being called to be salt of the earth as well.
Yeah.
This is to bring healing
yeah,
process
yeah.
somehow. So, I was reading again what is written in the verse 13. With all your offerings you bring salt. If we are being called the salt of the earth, in the way that I see it now is that we need to do it with intention. We need to, if we are going to, we need to be, let me paraphrase this, is that with all your offerings you need to bring you, because we are the salt. With all your offerings you need to bring you.
You have
it
to
cannot
be present.
lack.
Yeah.
You need to be present. What it means to be present, you need to do with all your intention, with all your desire, with with everything in you.
And maybe with the purpose of healing.
Is the and maybe this is exactly as I said before, is with the fire. Instead of having empty prayers because we don't have the fire, is the same thing. Is to have empty offerings if we're not doing it with the intention, not being present. Could be.
Yeah, and it's calling my attention that maybe also every time that YaHuWaH was healing somebody, maybe it was kind of, at that moment, he was doing like the priest was supposed to do, like making atonement for that person, maybe in an internal prayer with Abba, and asking for healing for that person, and that person immediately was healed. So it was kind of, I don't know, like a mobile offering, walking offering, I don't know how to say it without being so disrespectful, but he was doing all this process with the people who was talking to and meeting.
Yeah. So let's finish this chapter 2. It says, and if you bring a grain offering of your first fruit to YaHuWaH, bring for the grain offering of your first fruits green heads of grain roasted on the fire, crushed heads of new grain, and should put oil on it and lay frankincense on it. It is a grain offering. And the priest shall burn the remembrance portion, for it is crushed grain, and from its oil with all the frankincense of the offering made by fire to YaHuWaH. So let's go to chapter 3.
Okay.
Your turn.
Yeah. And if that which he presents is a slaughtering of peace offerings, if he is bringing it of the herd, whether male or female, he brings a perfect one before YaHuWaH, and he shall lay his hand on the head of his offering, and is laid at the door of the tent of appointment. And the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall sprinkle the blood on the slaughter place all around. And from the slaughtering of peace offering, he shall bring a fire offering to YaHuWaH, the fat that covers the entrails, and all the fat that is on the entrails, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them by the loins, and the appendage of on the liver, which he removes with the kidneys.
Let me just put a pause, just to reinforce the same thing that we were saying. He's bringing it of the herd is talking about the one bringing the offering. And he should lay his hand on the head of his offering and slay it at the door of the tent of appointment. So he's doing it at the door, outside, close to the door. And he's laying the hands on the head and slaying the animal. And the sons of Aaron, they were sprinkling, they taking the blood and sprinkle it in the slaughter place. Go ahead.
But then this is not so clear to me.
Which one?
The 3. Because
And from the slaughtering of peace offering, he shall bring a fire offering to YaHuWaH, the fat that covers the entrails and the fat that is on the entrails. He is the one preparing, giving it to the priest, and the priests are bringing it to the fire.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know where I stopped reading.
Go to verse 5.
And the sons of Aaron shall burn it on the slaughter place upon the ascending offering, which is on the wood, which is on the fire, as an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to YaHuWaH. And if that which he presents is from the flock, for a slaughtering of peace offerings to YaHuWaH, male or female, he brings a perfect one. If he is bringing a lamb as his offering, then he shall bring it before YaHuWaH, and shall lay his hand on the head of his offering, and slay it in front of the tent of appointment. And the sons of Aaron shall sprinkle its blood on the slaughter place round about. And from the slaughtering of peace offerings he shall bring near, as a fire offering to YaHuWaH, its fat, all the fat tail, which he removes close to the backbone, and the fat that covers the entrails, and all the fat that is on the entrails, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them by the loins, and the appendage on the liver, which he removes with the kidneys. And the priest shall burn them on the slaughter place as food, an offering made by fire to YaHuWaH.
You wanted to ask something here, right? Go ahead.
What was? Yeah. That because it said that the priest shall burn them on the slaughter place as food, that maybe they were going to from my point of view, is that they were going to eat from that because it says as food, or is only the preparation, like you burn things like
I don't know.
Yeah, so if somebody
Has,
could help us with that, because I don't have any clue about what could be represented.
What's the meaning of as food? It was prepared for food, or it was burned completely as the Sunday offering.
Yeah. But we are not going to. We need to see the comments.
Yeah, if you have any insight on this, it was prepared for food, as it said as food. It was burned completely.
Yeah,
we would love to hear your comments on this. Why you are whispering?
Yeah.
So read from this one. 14.
Okay. And from it he shall bring his offering as an offering made by fire to YaHuWaH, the fat that covers the entrails, and all the fat that is on the entrails, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them by the loins, and the appendage on the liver, which he removed with the kidneys. And the priest shall burn them on the slaughter place as food. Oh, I already read it. An offering made by fire for a sweet fragrance. All the fat belongs to YaHuWaH, an everlasting law throughout your generations. In all your dwellings, you do not eat any fat or any blood. That's very... It was the first time that I read about that. Wow, it changed my mind completely with the connection with the food, because when I was little, I used to have some kind of bread, especially that they made with the fat of the animals, and usually in winter you eat that, and it was very delicious. But then I understand about this, and I was kind of trying to to learn about what it's coming from fat and what it could be coming from the blood. And we have a lot of diseases. We have a lot of things that are going also to be harmful for us. And I think that especially with the blood is because it's something unique from one person to another. So if you are going, and from animal to animal, and if you're going to eat from that, we are going to be mixing something that shouldn't be mixed. So I think that that's why YaHuWaH is saying that we cannot do none of those.
Good. So I would like to offer my fat in excess to YaHuWaH as a burnt offering. You know?
But we would be there like the complete year making an offering.
So Abba, please
remove all the
accept my fat
fat.
offering to you.
Yeah.
All the fat belongs to you, not to me.
Yeah, not to me. Please take it.
Okay, so let's move on to the chapter 4.
Yeah. And the verse says, And YaHuWaH spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, When a being sins by mistake against any of the commands of YaHuWaH, which are not to be done, and shall do any of them, if the anointed priest sins, bringing guilt on the people, then he shall bring to YaHuWaH for his sin which he has sinned, a young bull, a perfect one, as a sin offering. And he shall bring the bull to the door of the tent of appointment before YaHuWaH, and shall lay his hand on the bull's head, and slay the bull before YaHuWaH. And the anointed priest shall take some of the bull's blood, and bring it to the tent of appointment. And the priest shall dip his finger in the blood, and sprinkle some of the blood 7 times before YaHuWaH, in front of the veil of the set-apart place. And the priest shall put some of the blood on the horns of the slaughter place of sweet incense before YaHuWaH, which is in the tent of appointment, and pour all the blood of the bull at the base of the slaughter place of the ascending offering, which is at the door of the tent of appointment. Then he takes all the fat of the bull as the sin offering, the fat that covers the entrails, and all the fat which is on the entrails, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them by the loins, and the appendage on the liver, which he removes with the kidneys, as it was taken from the bull of the slaughtering of peace offerings. And the priest shall burn them on the slaughter place of the ascending offering. But the skin of the bull, and all its flesh, with its head and legs, its entrail and dung, all of the bull, he shall bring outside the camp to a clean place, where the ashes are poured out, and burn it on wood with fire. Where the ashes are poured out, it is burned.
So, here we see what we were discussing. We see is the Kohanim.
Yeah.
I think it's the high priest, the one that is mentioning here, right?
Yeah.
It's the
It's
anointing one, anointed priest. And who is the anointed one? Is the high priest. It's the Kohen Gadol, the one bringing the offering and doing all the process. So he needed to slay the animal, and it is said at the door of the tent of appointment.
Yeah.
It's in the same place.
Yeah.
But doing all the process, but also having the responsibility to bring the offering inside and present it to YaHuWaH. So he is doing end-to-end the entire thing in order to do atonement for himself, for his mistake. But for the rest, we see a different process,
And it called my attention that he has to sprinkle in the veil some of the blood.
I just remember what the Kefa told Messiah. I don't know why, and I think this is part of the living sacrifice. It went Kefa, Peter told Mashiach, we have left everything for you. You remember that part?
Yeah, but I don't see the connection.
The connection is with the sacrifice.
Okay.
We have given it all. Given it all. When we talk about being responsible for everything, bringing the offering, killing the offering, presenting, giving the offering to somebody else, is just to give everything to him. And as soon as we give everything to him, he's going to take it and present it in our behalf.
When you were mentioning about Kefa, I was thinking about the other conversation when Kefa says to Mashiach, please that this not happen to you. And Mashiach was kind of angry and he said, get out of me. Because he was like, I don't know, like saying, don't do your role as a Kohen Hagadol, because you are going to do this kind of sacrifice. And maybe it was something that it was maybe a temptation that what happened if I don't do it? I don't know. But I was thinking about that maybe it was maybe giving some thoughts or being weak, or I don't know.
Could be. You know, something that maybe we don't remember if we mentioned it in the past, but I'm gonna do it now, is that from all the type of animals that were accepted as an offering, we see the animals from the soul, from the earth. We see birds, but we don't see,
and even of the earth,
the birds,
and also the grain,
and the grain actually, but we don't see any fish, nothing from the sea.
And I have my theory.
You have your theory, and maybe we discussed this in the past, but it's really interesting that we don't see any type of offering on this.
You know why?
On this thing.
Because
why?
it stink. I don't know. Fish are really stinky.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, maybe. No, but I think that maybe it's because they are coming from the ocean, I think. But it could be from rivers, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay, so let's continue. Thank you, Arthur. I just saw that your comment. We didn't update this title here, but we did it. So let's continue in verse 13.
And 13. And if the entire congregation of Israel strays by mistake, and the matter has been hidden from the eyes of the assembly, and they have done against any of the commands of YaHuWaH which are not to be done, and shall be guilty, when the sin which they have sinned becomes known, then the assembly shall bring a young bull for the sin, and bring it before the tent of appointment. And the elders of the congregation shall lay their hands on the head of the bull before YaHuWaH, and the bull shall be slain before YaHuWaH. And the anointed priest shall bring some of the bull's blood to the tent of appointment, and the priest shall dip his finger in the blood and sprinkle it 7 times before YaHuWaH in front of the veil, and put some of the blood on the horns of the slaughter place which is before YaHuWaH, which is in the tent of appointment, and pour all the blood at the base of the slaughter place of ascending offering, which is at the door of the tent of appointment. Then he takes all the fat from it and shall burn it on the slaughter place. And he shall do with the bull as he did with the bull as a sin offering, so shall he do it. And the priest shall make atonement for them, and it shall be forgiven them. And he
so it's exactly the same process.
The same process
for the people.
Yeah.
And we see that the connection here is with the Yom Kippur.
Mm-hmm.
Most of this, the first thing is the offering during Yom HaKippurim for the priest and then for the assembly. And I think I was covering the part of this also in the same study of the death, burial, and resurrection of Mashiach. Just to understand, what type of offering was Mashiach giving. You were asking me about Pesach. Pesach is coming very soon.
Yeah. But it's not a sin offering.
Yeah, Pesach was not intended for a sin offering. But the sin offering was, we see the picture here, as well as in the Yom HaKippurim process. Go ahead.
And I read this. Yeah.
No.
What's and the first bull. Yeah, and he shall bring the bull outside the camp and burn it as he burned the first bull. It is a sin offering for the assembly. and the first bull was burned outside with the ashes outside of the camp.
Mhm. And it is believed in case of Jerusalem that they were doing all this process of burning this part of the animals outside the camp was done in the Mount of Olives.
Yeah,
And this is so representative
because
of what happened everything that happened in the Mount of Olives with Mashiach.
yeah, everything was
Everything, you know, the last prayer he was taken in prison when he was in the Mount of Olives.
Yeah, and the crucifixion was.
It is believed that one of the places of the crucifixion was in the Mount of Olives. Is the two
Next to that place, because next to that place you have the.
It's one of the two options in the Garden Tomb and also in the Mount of Olives. And the Ascension, and also his foot is gonna step in the top of the Mount of Olives, as we see in the prophecy of the book of Zechariah.
So it called my attention that the priest and the whole congregation has the same sacrifice. And sometimes I remember, because Mashiach is like the priest, and the people Israel as a whole is a kind of the counterpart, is the other half. So maybe kind of we want to wait is kind of the same. I don't know.
Absolutely.
And now it says, when a ruler sins and by mistake has done against any of the commands of YaHuWaH, his Elohim, which are not to be done, and shall be guilty, or if his sin, which he has sinned, is made known to him, then he shall bring as his offering a buck of the goats, a male, a perfect one, and he shall lay his hand on the head of the goat, and is laid at the place where they slay the ascending offering before YaHuWaH. It is a sin offering. And the priest shall take some of the blood of the sin offering with his finger, and shall put it on the horns of the slaughter place of ascending offering, and pour its blood at the base of the slaughter place of ascending offering, and burn all its fat on the slaughter place, like the fat of the slaughtering of the peace offering. And the priest shall make atonement for him for his sin, and it shall be forgiven him. And if any being, and this is interesting, because in the case of the ruler and in the case that we are going to read now, there is only one difference, and then I'm going to read it. And if any being of the people of the land sins by mistake, by doing against any of the commands of YaHuWaH which are not to be done, and shall be guilty, or if his sin which he has sinned shall be made known to him, then he shall bring as his offering a female goat, a perfect one, for his sin which he has sinned. And he shall lay his hand on the head of the sin offering, and slay the sin offering at the place of the ascending offering. And the priest shall take some of its blood with his finger, and shall put it on the horns of the slaughter place of ascending offering, and pour all the blood at the base of the slaughter place. Then remove all its fat, as fat is removed from the slaughtering of the peace offerings, and the priest shall burn it on the slaughter place for a sweet fragrance to YaHuWaH. And the priest shall make atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. And if he brings a lamb as his sin offering, he brings a female, a perfect one. And he shall lay his hand on the heads of the sin offering, and slay it as a sin offering at the place where they slay the sending offering. And the priest shall take some of the blood of the sin offering with his finger, and shall put it on the horns of the slaughter place of ascending offering, and pour all the blood at the base of the slaughter place. Then he removes all its fat, as the fat of the lamb is removed from the slaughtering of the peace offering. And the priest shall burn it on the slaughter place, according to the fire offering to YaHuWaH. So the priest shall make atonement for his sin that he has sinned, and it shall be forgiven him.
So we have the different processes. We have the priest, we have
the entire congregation,
we have the ruler, and we have an individual, a person.
Yeah. And what I found that in the first two, the blood is sprinkled on the veil.
Mhm.
It's not in the second and the ruler and an individual being. So I don't know. When I read this, for my understanding, if the priest is the one who is entering to the most set apart place, I think that Israel as a whole, as a unity, has that potential of entering to that place. And the priest and Israel being one, I imagine that is like when, and I was telling you that, is something that I felt. It's not saying that is, but it's something that I felt. That we were expelled from the presence of our Creator with Adam, and he was taken out. So maybe this is the way of getting in. But we have to be complete together. And that's why there is a place where it says,
Echad.
until when?
Yeah.
Until the last that has to be there is going to be complete and being Echad, and we can be presented again in the presence of YaHuWaH, but
That's
going
true.
through this process.
And you know what's beautiful and interesting at the same time is that
and we need to die for that.
at
We
the-
cannot do it in this flesh.
and the moment that Yahushua has his last breath and the stake,
It's,
remember what happened with the veil?
yeah, it's
It was
it-
turned from the
Yeah.
upside down.
Mhm.
So I think it's a kind of symbolic as well with the fact what you're saying is that the blood was sprinkled.
Mhm.
I think it's somehow, just to say it metaphorically, his blood was so powerful, it was sprinkled to the veil
Mhm.
that it was completely broken.
Mhm.
So I think there is a kind of connection with that, because for sure I have no doubt in my heart that his offering was for the offering as the priest, but also for the assembly as a whole offering. And though he also was representing the offering of the king and of the people, and having the pictures that the one is the responsible of doing everything and presenting himself, this is exactly what he did. He offered himself, his own life, as an offering.
Just to let, and also just to let us go.
He was bearing the stake. The Romans made him do it, but he was doing it anyway. So he everything that he suffered is exactly what we were describing at the beginning. He offered everything by him, from himself, his own life, and he did it with everything in him, suffering everything. So I think having the picture of what we have been discussing today, I think that's the perfect picture of how we should offer our offerings to YaHuWaH, in the way, with what intention, what meod in Hebrew, as I said at the beginning, with everything in us, in order to bring it to him. He is the perfect example. And we saw it as well in the first believers. They were so eager and willing even to give their own lives, that this should I don't know, it should be kind of a knocking our doors to open our eyes.
We have to expect to be
in the way that we want to present our offering to him, in the way that we want to serve him, is that we are gonna be willing to offer it all. It's like bringing the animal, killing the animal, and bringing it to YaHuWaH. Is the same thing, is to do it with the intention, with that fire. And I think the time is coming that we need to be ready to go beyond of what we have been doing so far. We need to go beyond and offering and serve him with that desire, with that intention, with that willingness to do and to give it all. So this is the time to practice, not to wait.
Yeah.
So, we are going to give the chapter 5 as a homework. We're going to keep it here. And the only reason, because I managed to see some of the chat, and they started to discuss about the sweet fragrance and how how good is to smell the meat in the barbecue that make me hungry. No, and not only for that. I'm just joking. I remembered back on 2020 in Virtual House Church when we were doing this portion. Jake Grant brought a really important point from the Targums, I think. I don't remember the details and I didn't have the chance to go into the video. So I will suggest for you to read this chapter and maybe go to that portion on the Virtual House Church in 2020, because there are different things here related in the chapter 5 about the touching unclean things connected to sin and sin offerings that are not that clear. And I remember Jake back then brought a really important information that unfortunately I don't remember exactly now. That's why I'm directing you to that video in order to have a much clearer understanding of what's being mentioned here in the chapter 5. So I will invite you to go and check the Virtual House Church in this portion of 2020 and just check when Jake was sharing his insight on this topic, because I remembered the only thing that I remember now that it clicked inside me just to connect few things that I was not able to see it clearly in this specific chapter.
And you don't want to read it just so if somebody has something to share, just to read it and maybe
I can read it, yes.
I don't know if you
need to take care of the chat. I will read it.
Okay, I'm going to read.
So it says, and when a being sins in that he has heard the voice of swearing and is a witness, or has seen, or has known but does not reveal it, he shall bear his crookedness. Or when a being touches any unclean matter, or the carcass of an unclean beast, or the carcass of an unclean livestock, or the carcass of unclean creeping creatures, and it has been hidden from him, he is unclean and guilty. Or when he touches uncleanness of man, any of his uncleanness by which he is unclean, and it has been hidden from him, when he shall know it, then he shall be guilty. Or when a being swears, speaking rashly with his lips to do evil or to do good, whatever it is that man swears rashly with an oath, and it has been hidden from him, when he shall know it, then he shall be guilty of one of these. And it shall be, when he is guilty of one of these, that he shall confess that in which he has sinned, and shall bring his guilt offering to YaHuWaH for his sin which he has sinned, a female from the flock, a lamb, or a female goat as a sin offering, and the priest shall make atonement for him for his sin. So we are not we have no way out, to say it in some way.
Yeah.
Even if we made a mistake and we committed a sin, without knowing it at the moment we are conscious of what we did, we need to ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
We need to bring an offering. So that's really important, because maybe many years ago we did something and we just come to the realization that we made a mistake and we commit a sin. We need to seek forgiveness from Abba.
It is not strange that it's talking about, is something different the carcass of any livestock, because but it's saying of unclean livestock. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, no.
It's everything unclean, from animals or type of animals or people.
Yeah.
And if he's unclean to bring, and he is unable to bring a lamb, then he shall bring to YaHuWaH he who has sinned 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, one for a sin offering and the other for an ascending offering. And he shall bring them to the priest, who shall bring near that which is for the sin offering first, and nip off its head from its neck, but not sever it, And he shall sprinkle some of the blood of the sin offering on the side of the slaughter place, and the rest of the blood shall be drained out at the base of the slaughter place. It is a sin offering. And he shall prepare the second as an ascending offering, according to the right ruling. And the priest shall make atonement for him, for his sin which he has sinned, and it shall be forgiven him. So it's the same purpose, it's a different type of offering, but the bottom line, the most important thing is that if we realize that we have committed sin, we need to ask for forgiveness with what is in our hand, according to what YaHuWaH is providing and opening the door. And that's also a picture just for us to understand that while we are in this flesh, we are we can commit sin. We are not free of sin, no matter that we need to do our effort not to commit sin.
Do our best.
Sometimes because of the sin in our flesh, we are gonna do it by mistake. So
the idea is, if we do something and we learn that that is not correct, we are not going to do it again. That's the idea, that we move from that point, learn, and move on.
We are in the path of Kodeshah, the path of set apartness.
Yeah.
It is written in the word. We are going to be able to get fully Kodesh as the moment of our transformation. But we need to do our effort in order to get to that point of Kodeshah, set apartness. But that it means is that this is a journey, it's a walk, that we need to do this analysis day by day. We need to look within us, into us, to understand if we are perfect before him.
Daniel, because I was reading.
Okay, good. Very good.
I'm going to put it, because he put it really nice. And he said, where is this? I believe that if we sin without realizing it, for some reason, the Ruach will reveal that sin to us sooner or later. And I think that maybe there are some people that they are going to do it maybe at the point when they are leaving this earth, because there are a lot of people who are realizing, or maybe here bearing this guilt, and they don't approach with repentance. And I think that's why there is this practice that usually when somebody's going to die, usually a pastor or a priest or somebody is going to go and pray with them, and they ask them if you have something to repent of before going to confront death. And I think maybe that's the reason, because it's sooner or later, but at some point we are going to realize about that. So that's it.
That's true. And I just saw the comment from Karen, and yes, I think the title is from 2021, Karen.
Yeah?
It's not 2020 on Virtual House Church.
Okay.
I don't know why I remember it was on 2020, but the title is 2021 Virtual House Church with 24 Vayiqra. So just take a look on that one, and
maybe you can share the link.
I can share the link.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let me copy and paste the link.
And for sure, maybe if
It's the
he's doing
one
the devotion today,
here.
he's going to share.
Most probably.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's continue.
You did it both.
Yeah, at the
both.
same time.
Good. Yeah.
So, but if he's unable to bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, then he who sinned shall bring for his offering 1/10 of an ephah of pine flour as a sin offering. He puts no oil on it, nor does he put any frankincense on it,
This is different.
for it is a sin offering. And he shall bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take his hand filled with it as a remembrance portion, and burn it on the slaughter place according to the offerings made by fire to YaHuWaH. It is a sin offering. And the priest shall make atonement for him for his sin that he has sinned in any of this, and it shall be forgiven him, and it shall be the priest's like a grain offering. And YaHuWaH spoke to Moshe, saying, when a being commits a trespass and has sinned by mistake against the set apart matters of YaHuWaH, then he shall bring to YaHuWaH as his guilt offering a ram, a perfect one, from the flock, with your valuation in shekels, of silvers according to the shekel of the set apart place as a guilt offering. And he shall make good for the sin that he has done against that which is set apart, and shall add 1/5 to it, and give it to the priest. And the priest shall make atonement for him with the ram of the guilt offering, and it shall be forgiven him. And when any being sins, and has done what is not to be done against any of the commands of YaHuWaH, though he knew it not, yet he shall be guilty and shall bear his crookedness. Then he shall bring to the priest a ram, a perfect one from the flock with your valuation as a guilt offering. And the priest shall make atonement for his mistake he committed unintentionally, though he did not know it, and it shall be forgiven him. It is a guilt offering. He was truly guilty before YaHuWaH. And before we finish today, there's something that we were discussing earlier today, but we didn't mention.
Yeah.
And it's about a specific wording here in this portion, that it says the following. Do you remember what it is?
Never. It was at the beginning.
I remember it was at the beginning. No, it was the 4.
It was
Yes,
in the 4?
it was in the chapter 4. And also in the chapter
because
5.
the sin by mistake.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it says the following in the chapter 4, verse 2. Speak to the children of Israel, saying, when a being sins by mistake against any of the commands of YaHuWaH, which are not to be done, and shall do any of them. We were reading this, and this is interesting in the way that is the wording is being mentioned here. And we know that the instructions, the commandment of YaHuWaH, we can divide it, we can say, in two main groups. The do's, or the do's and the don'ts. Or the does and the doesn't. The commandments that are kind of a positive commandment, things that we have to do.
Like love your neighbor.
Exactly, and respect and honor your fathers and your mother. With the other ones, in the other group, the don'ts, is this: you don't murder, you don't steal,
you don't false testimony, you don't say false testimony.
Exactly.
You don't,
and many other don'ts.
Blaspheme.
So there are commandments that somehow are being, YaHuWaH is teaching us that things that we don't have to do, we need to avoid. So it seems that all this explanation on the chapter 4 and chapter 5 is exactly for those type of commandments. If we read carefully, it says, if somebody sins by mistake against any of the commands of YaHuWaH, which are not to be done. So there are commandments of things that are not to be done, and shall do any of them. So all the explanation here in the chapter 4, our understanding based on what we were reading today, is that are directed specifically, mainly, to those commandments in the group of the don'ts. Don't do this. If we do this, those are the being instructed not to do, is exactly what we are reading here. Is sinning by mistake. For sure, if we do it by mistake, ignoring them, if we do it purposely, it's something totally different. And there are some other instructions about that. So if you read carefully the chapter 4 and the chapter 5, you will see that this specific wording, committing a mistake against any of the commands of YaHuWaH, which are not to be done, and shall do any of them. It's our belief that it's referring to the don'ts.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's from my side. Do you have anything else you want to share?
No, I don't know how we're going to do it, but asking every day, Abba, forgiving us, helping us, and giving thanks for YaHuWaH, our Kohen Hagadol, who is working for us and being the perfect intercessor until we can go again and like Adam and Hawa did with YaHuWaH, walking with him, be there, and maybe we have to have a conversation with Adam and about what happened.
What?
No, something that I'm going to have a pending conversation with Adam and Eve at one point, if I have the pleasure to meet them.
Adam and
someday.
Eve. Okay, I understand you. Yeah, with Adam and Eve.
And they're going to say, well, if you were in my place, it could have been worse. So maybe.
It could
Yeah.
be, we
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah. Mm.
Good. So that's good. It has been a
Yeah.
blessing and good time with you, like always.
Mm.
We really hope that the insights that we were sharing with you has been a blessing. And we pray that you will continue having a blessed Shabbat, blessed week. The season of Moedim is coming, and no matter what type of calendar you are following, it's coming, and when it is a reason to celebrate, it's a reason to be happy and to have joy in our hearts.
Mm.
And let me mention something about a calendar. I was writing an email early today, because I think when we are coming on these times, we are bringing all these thoughts and concerns and doubts about following the right calendar and so on. And I was sharing this over the emails this morning. Is that I used to have these concerns and doubts in the past, but Abba was telling me to look into the past somehow and the journey so far. And I was sharing exactly what I'm gonna share with you now over the email, saying that I was far away from him for so many years, and not even knowing his truth about his Moedim, and not knowing his truth about any type of calendar and his times and the seasons, and I was not keeping at all his Moedim because I didn't know about it.
Mm.
And that was for many years. And in his compassion, he was taking my hand and bringing me to his truth and showing to me the truth of his word and the Moedim. And I started to keep those Moedims with a Jewish calendar, and then with this liver moon and so on. But what was in my heart? The true desire to seek him with all my heart. And he was moving from revealing more truth little by little, getting me closer to him,
And he's a student.
little by little, and being compassionate to him, even though that maybe I was not totally in sync with his times. He was moving me closer and closer and closer to him. And I was writing this on the email because it's inevitable to have these doubts and these concerns all the time. But in the same way that Abba was telling me, look behind you, what I have been doing with you, how compassionate I have been with you when you were doing all these mistakes and not knowing all of this. And but you had the desire in your heart, the desire that I put in your heart, to continue searching and to continue pushing forward in order to get closer. There's no doubt that he will continue doing it in the future. But there is a big if that we need to consider, and that big if is that we need to seek him with all our heart, even though that maybe we are not doing it yet on the perfect timing. There is no doubt that we are getting closer to him because of what he has been done for us on the way. And if with that big if we continue seeking him with all our heart, he will continue doing the same thing that we have done in the past, making us get closer to him even more. So, I really hope that what I'm saying is bringing some kind of encouragement to you, that no matter that the person next to you or close to you is keeping a different calendar and is bringing doubts to you, you know, the most important thing, in the same way that YaHuWaH has been doing so far, is that we need to keep his modim with all our heart. And we need to keep searching with all our heart and let him to guide us in the process. He will be compassionate to us if we do it really do it with all our heart. So having said that, I just want to make sure that you are enjoying this time with him, that you are gonna keep the modim whenever it is that you are keeping it this year, that you are doing it with all your heart to him, and with the expectation that we are soon, very soon, and that's my belief, we are gonna be adjusted, all of us, and we are gonna be on sync finally in the kingdom of YaHuWaH. That's the expectation, and that's gonna be a fantastic moment for all of us. So enjoy your time. You know, we're keeping Pesach next week, so we are gonna be in the midst of the Har HaMatzot next week. So if you are keeping Pesach next week, I really hope that you are gonna enjoy that time. If you are gonna keep it later, I really hope in YaHuWaH you are going to enjoy that time. You know, we need to do it as we were discussing today. Bring this offering with joy, with everything in us to him. That's the way that we need to serve him with all our heart. So once again, thank you so much. YaHuWaH be with you all. Enjoy the rest of your Shabbat, and see you next week. Yep. Okay.
Very, very good week with a lot
So,
of blessing out.
We are going to end with a song. So Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
See you next week. Bye.